Hello and welcome to another Out of Spec Bits video. Today we are going to talk about charging parks in Norway. In Norway, 80 to 90% of car sales are pure battery electric cars. This means that we are slowly replacing combustion cars, like you can see behind me here, with electric cars. About 1/3 of all cars on the roads in Norway are electric per this date. So what happens when there are so many electric cars on the road? Well, the grid is completely fine. I will report back when we have 50% EVs on the road and see if the grid is still fine. Anyways, we need DC fast charging. So in this video, I will go through an enormous charging park here in Norway, and we start on this south side of the road. This is the north stop of the E6 in Norway. So over here we have actually replaced the gas pumps with EV chargers, and not just any EV chargers. These are the best EV chargers in the world, in my opinion. The Alpitronic Hyper 300. So this is a system where you can split it with 150 kilowatts on each car, or if a car needs less, the other car can get more. I think it's 50 kilowatts granularity. So UnoX is the charging provider here at this first charger. I will of course go through many chargers in this video. They have a price of 4.8 kroner per kilowatt hours. Per kilowatt hour, that's a great price. They do card payment, and it's actually one of my favorite charging providers in Norway. And having this canopy, like you can see, is great when it's raining and the weather is bad and everything else. And if we move over here, you can see an Audi e-tron charging over here, getting his 150 kilowatt flat charging curve here. And here is another Hyper 300 by Alpitronic with UnoX as the charge point operator. Let's move over to some more chargers that we have right over here actually. So UnoX is one of the cheaper charging providers. UnoX offer similar pricing to Tesla without a membership, I would say, but it's all just varied depending on power prices, demand and stuff like that. And this bus is finally leaving, very noisy. Here we have Eveny. Eveny is another charge point provider, and they actually provide Shadmo, which is rare to see these days. These are Delta units. Was very popular before. I haven't seen any new Delta units in Norway after Alpitronic entered the market with their Hyper 400 and stuff like that. So these are 50 to 200 kilowatts. Split system, I guess you can use both at the same time. So the Shadmo says 62.5 kilowatts max. There are very few Shadmo cars that can take more than 50 kilowatts. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 Delta units here for people that want to charge. And you can see, oh yeah, the system is of course split on the other side here. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, so 12 stalls, I guess, would be here. So you split with the guy or gal on the other side. So these are the Eveny chargers. These are quite expensive. It's an expensive charge point operator, so not that many people that want to use them. Let's move on to the other side of the highway, the south direction, where we have an even larger charging park. So now we have moved on from the other side over there. That's the northbound direction of the E6. Now we are on this side, which is the southbound direction of the E6. So here we have a ton of chargers. This is one of the largest charging parks, at least by counting the charge point operators in Norway. So here we have more Alpitronic units. Now the charge point operator is Mer. Mer is a charge point operator owned by Statkraft, which is the state-owned grid company in Norway. These are Hyper 300, but they are force split, so they have 150 kilowatts, 150 kilowatts, or you can also use Chademo, which is, I don't know, it's kind of nice to see Chademo still being implemented. There are a ton of Leaf drivers in Norway. Actually, the most sold electric car in Norway is the Nissan Leaf. It's there are sold more Nissan Leafs than the Tesla Model Y in Norway currently. Because it has been on sale since 2011, so tons of Nissan Leafs, so it's nice to see the Chademo. So we have 4 Hyper 300, but they are 4 split, so you will maximum get 150 kilowatt here, which kind of sucks actually. I wish they were dynamically balanced like the Uno X chargers over there. Let's move over to the Eon chargers here. Eon is a charge point operator that's at least prevalent in the Nordics. In Norway, there are not that many Eon chargers. By the way, I forgot to mention that the Mer chargers are quite expensive. One of the most expensive charge point operators out there. So Eon also quite an expensive charge point operator. So let's see, I think these are also Hyper 300s. I hope we kind of see Hyper 400s very soon. Yes, they are Hyper 300s. Let's see here. I don't know if these are 4 split. My guess is that it's not 4 split, so you can get 300 kilowatts if you are alone on this one. Also Chademo. So many Chademo locations still being implemented. That's quite interesting. And of course, I can show the CCS2 port as well in case you haven't seen that one. So 1, 2, 3 Eon Alpitronic units, Hyper 300 units here. So let's move on to some other chargers. I can start with Kople here, which, if we go all the way over here, we can see a Delta unit again. Not seeing too many Delta units being implemented recently. I think people move over to other hardware providers. There are some interesting hardware providers coming up very soon, but these are, okay, so it's 125 kilowatts and it's shared 125 kilowatts. That sucks for today's charging, I would say, especially if you have to share 125 kilowatts. That's even worse than a version 2 supercharger. And Chademo, again, more Chademo. So many Chademo plugs. Okay. So this is Kople. Kople is medium priced, medium to high priced as well. Quite expensive, I would say. They are, but still, I would say they are more popular to use than Mer and Eon in Norway. Let's move over to the level 2 chargers here really quick, because these are also Kople. So it's the same charge point operator, but they have level 2 chargers here, up to 22 kilowatts, because we have 3-phase 400 volt TN distribution power grid here, so you are able to get 22 kilowatts on 400 volts TN. So it's bring your own cable. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 units here by Kople. These are too expensive. If you offer level 2 charging at these charging parks, I think it should be cheap, super cheap. Okay, so here we see some more power distribution. By the way, you can see the transformators over there. 1, 2, 3 trafos. These are actually, Norway is a big producer of these, which helps with, actually, I don't know if these are produced in Norway, but many of these are produced in Norway, and it really helps getting these DC fast chargers in, because there are so long waiting times for these transformators. So here we have a Siemens unit up to 180 kilowatts by Kople, which means that Kople has bought this from Siemens. They want to try these units, and I see a giant screen that's difficult to see in the sun already, and it looks super expensive for being 180 kilowatts, only 180 kilowatts with a split system. What's interesting and kind of unique is that we have a level 2 charging port here. I hope it's much cheaper, but my guess is that it's almost the same price as DC fast charging. In my opinion, AC charging should be dirt cheap in locations like this, but it's interesting to see that you have an AC charging opportunity on the DC unit itself. It's already wired up for this, so it's easy to implement an AC charging port, and I think that's a great idea. Here we have some power electronics for distribution to the chargers from there. Here we have another Siemens unit, another Siemens unit. And to be honest, 180 kilowatts, they look expensive with the big flashy screen and everything. Not my style, but I hope they work out for Kopple. Here we have more Delta units by Kopple. 1, 2, 3. These are up to 200 kilowatts, the same type that we saw on the other side, except that these don't have the CHAdeMO plug or the plugs behind. So both of the CCS plugs are here, so if you plug in two cars, you will both get 100 kilowatts if your car can take it. Okay, so here are also a Delta unit by Kopple, so medium to high price Kopple. Let's move on to the next charge point operator, very popular one in Norway. So we have to count this Tesla supercharger. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 11, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24! 24 version 3 stalls. So, of course, in Norway, Tesla also uses CCS2. So these are up to 250 kilowatt, but that's a very up to number, because if everything is full here, I think each stall will get 90 kilowatts. Like you can see here, there is about 360 kilowatts available for each power cabinet over here. That's distributed with a DC bus through all these stalls so that people can charge. It's kind of like, it's a great design, because a lot of people don't charge at 250 kilowatt all the time, so that we can get the power that we need distributed to the cars that need it. So the version 3 design is a very, very good one in my opinion. The cables are super thin, the thinnest cables for 250 kilowatts. They can take like 600 amps or something, maybe more than 600 amps. And that's very impressive to have such thin cables for that. Let's move on to Ionity. We have moved over to Ionity from the Tesla superchargers over there, so you know where we are. Ionity was pretty early with fast charging in Norway and Europe. They are like a joint venture between automakers, kind of similar to Iona in the US. So Ionity started out with a ton of chargers, and they were the first ones to come with really fast charging available in Norway and Europe. So, for example, when we had the Tesla Model 3s and we had no version 3 superchargers, people could actually DC fast charge faster on Ionity than Tesla superchargers, because Tesla Model 3s in Europe always came with a CCS port. Very, very interesting. So Ionity took kind of like a pause for some years, I would say. They had an enormous amount of charging stations installed early on. Then they just died off, it seemed. But now they are fully back with card readers, Alpitronic hardware. It says that it's 4-split, 200 kilowatts, 200 kilowatts. This is of course a Hyper 400 units. So the first time we have seen a Hyper 400 unit in this video. But I don't think these are actually 4-split, because when I was in the north of Sweden with the Taycan, we charged at 320 kilowatts on one of these, even though it says that it's 4-split. That doesn't really matter that much. These are great units, and these are probably what we will see moving forward, many of these Alpitronic units. And yeah, offering up to 400 kilowatts on these ones. So we have one Alpitronic unit here. Here we have some power cabinets for the ABB units we will look at later. But first, here as well, and another Alpitronic unit, Hyper 400. Pricing on Ionity was really bad. Now they have Ionity Passport, which actually has some seriously competitive pricing with Tesla. So many people go for Ionity instead. Of course, there are just a few automakers that have plug-in charge on Ionity, and that really is an amazing thing with Teslas. But yeah, if you have plug-in charge on Ionity with the Ionity Passport or a deal through the automaker, this is a great charging provider now, and everything they do, they understand charging. You have like trash bins, you have everything is pulled through, and stuff like that. These are actually ABB units, and I think they are up to 350 kilowatts each, depending on what's available in the power cabinet behind you, like you can see here. These. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4 Ionity ABB units. At night, these rings light up. It's a beautiful charging station, much more beautiful than any other that we have looked at. Again, pricing is great with the Ionity Passport. Ionity is known for having fast charging early on in the EV adoption. Now we are going to drive south on the E6 to another charging park that's also enormous. So join me for that. Like you can see, we have been rallying with our Model Y. Anyways, the amenities around here is important to note just before we drive off to the next charging park. So the amenities here is basically Coop Ops. Coop Ops is similar to Walmart, I would say. It's a small Walmart. It has everything. Inside there is a cafe, bathrooms that are free of charge, and you have a wine monopoly and some other stuff. A hair cutter, I think, inside there. So you have everything you need over there. Let's jump in the car and move on to the next charging park. We are driving to the other charging park right now, and we are just passing DC fast chargers along the way here. We have seen more UNO-X chargers, we have seen a ton of Kempower units, we have seen truck chargers, so there are plenty of DC fast chargers in Norway. We are just going to a large charging park to show you how that looks. But I just wanted to mention that while we are driving there, we are just passing every kind of charger imaginable along the way. And it's just like 30 minutes between the two charging parks. So we have been driving from a place called Roadside, and now we are soon at Innlandsporten, which is our next and last charging park. And as I mentioned earlier, between here and there has been just a ton of DC fast chargers along the way as well. We are at the next charging park, and as always we have Tesla superchargers there, so we are charging right down there. There are about 20, I think, V3.5 supercharger stalls, so the new stalls, but the old cabinets that we have down here. It's I forgot to mention in the last clip that at the last charging park, the Tesla superchargers are open to everyone, and that's the same case here. These Tesla superchargers are open to everyone. We have trash bins down there, long cables, and perfect for charging any electric car with a CCS to port. So in this charging park we have so many charge point operators, so many different layouts and chargers. So let's just start here with the ABB units, I believe. And like you can see, the parking spots here are enormous. So what are these chargers for? Well, they are for semi-trucks. Semi-trucks that are electric can come in here and charge, and you can see that people in the Audi e-tron there, in the beautiful Galaxy Blue colorway, my favorite car color ever, by the way, is charging here at the truck charger. Doesn't really matter, there are no trucks here now. So these are the ABB units, 4 ABB unit truck chargers. So let's move on to the other Ionity chargers that we have here. We have this beautiful i4 M50 charging at this Alpitronic Hyper 400 charger. There is another Hyper charger 400 over there. So it's 1, 2, 3, 6 in total. 6 Hyper 400 chargers here. They say 200 kilowatts, 200 kilowatts. I believe they are not 4-split, that you can get 400 kilowatts out of them. And you can see here also pull through, pull through, pull through. Everything with Ionity is pull through. So that's the best way to create a charging layout, in my opinion, because everyone can use pull through layouts. It makes charge point placement not that important. And of course, if you are towing, like many people do in Norway, especially now in the spring, there are a ton of people towing, and this is a great layout. And you can see here, for future expansion, we can add more, presumably Alpitronic units here, here, here. So they have already painted the layouts, so I assume they are just waiting for some kind of power connection. So you can see the giant transformer over here. By the way, I said transformator in the last video. That's the Norwegian word. I of course meant transformer. So if we move over here, we can see a giant house, presumably full of transformers for all the power needs for this charging park, because we are not even halfway done with this charging park. So here we have the transformers, I assume, inside this house, a large house, the largest transformer house I've ever seen, and I'm sure there are more transformers over there. And again, in Norway we produce a ton of transformers, so maybe it makes it faster to implement DC fast chargers because of that. So let's move up a level, and we will take a look at the Neo battery swap station. So again, we have a trash bin here as well. A few trash bins just around, and the Tesla charger also had a trash bin, which is very, very nice. So if we move here, sorry about the wind, we have a Neo battery swap station. So battery swap works that way that you rent the battery. You can also buy the battery for yourself, but if you rent the battery, you don't have to worry about degradation. And you have different battery sizes available. You order on the screen, and you come here and you basically swap your battery. Neo also has some chargers here. They always have some chargers. It says 500 kilowatts, the Power Charger 3. I believe that's with some seriously high voltage, and no Neos available in Norway to this date can take 500 kilowatts. There are 2 of them. I don't know the exact requirements. And again, CCS 2-port as always. And you can pay with a card. That's very nice. Props to Neo for card payment. I like card payment. Let's move on to the next provider at this site. We have Kople. Kople again. Kople has been expanding like crazy lately. So here we have Tritium chargers. Tritium is an Australian company, I think. 75 kilowatts. These seem like old units. Look at this. This looks like 80s technology, to be honest. That's the CHAdeMO plug. 80s technology. So these are 75 kilowatt units, and they are parallel parking units. So you need to be able to parallel park. I'm walking backwards to reduce the wind noise, by the way. To be able to use these Kople units. So of course there are 6 charging 6 spots, which is totally unnecessary when there is 1 CCS cable per charger. But let's move on to the more modern Kople part of this. Here we see more transformers. Here we see Møre Trafo, made in Norway, on the western coast of Norway. A big producer of transformers in Norway. Okay, here we have more Siemens units. Seems like Kople made a good deal with Siemens, because they have a ton of Siemens chargers. So here we have 180 kilowatts shared between 2 CCS plugs. 180 kilowatts shared between 2 CCS plugs. And the exact same layout there. 4 charging spots, and all the charging spots are pull-through. So you can come with a trailer, absolutely no problem. tons of space, so you don't even need to be able to back up with a trailer. You can just come here, no problem. Here you can see another one with a dedicated trailer spot. So you can come in here with a car, with a trailer, and the last time I was here I actually saw an F-150 Lightning towing that parked here and charged at this Kople unit. So you can just park here and you can see the trailer parking. It's the first time I've seen a dedicated parking spot for a trailer that's enormous. So this is great, and you don't need to be able to back up with a trailer. So let's walk even further, because there are still a ton of charging providers left in this video. So we walk past the transformers here for the chargers. I can see even more transformers over there. Here is Mer, and a Volvo EX30 is charging there, it seems. So here is our first look into Kempower units, and Kempower is quite popular in the Nordics and also rest of Europe. It has always been, I don't know, I've seen more people install Alpitronic units right now, but these units are amazing because they use a similar share system to Tesla, so they share between the satellites. These are called satellites. You have CHAdeMO again. I'm surprised about all the CHAdeMO that we see when we walk through the charging parks here. I really thought that CHAdeMO was dead, but apparently not. And you can see how old this thing looks. Anyways, CCS 150 kilowatts on 400 volt. They are available with much higher power requirements, 800 volts. It's dependent on the cable, I think. Again, card payment. Awesome, that's a requirement, but not everyone has it. It's yeah, we have trash bins, and what's cool about the Kempower units is that you can plug in here, charge, and you can follow the charge curve with the app. Or you don't need an app, you can just scan a QR code and you have the charging curve with you. Next up is a very rare provider, I would say, in Norway. They did start out a few years ago, and the whole concept of this next charging provider was to have amazing amenities. And they do have amazing amenities at some of their sites. They have vacuum cleaners that's in conjunction with the chargers, which means that you can charge and vacuum the car at the same time. That's awesome. But lately I haven't seen any new installs, but all the sites here are also pull-through. You have card payment. I think that's new. They have card payment, which is awesome. Should be at all new chargers, in my opinion. We have these chargers are EV Box Tronic High Power. I haven't seen these ones before. That's interesting. 4 of these pull through and trash bin, which is great, but they should bring their vacuums to all the chargers that they have, because it's an awesome, unique thing about their charging spot. Here you can see a Tesla Model Y towing, which is very, very normal to see in Norway. Here we have Circle K. They have been very good at installing fast chargers at their locations. They still have like fuel pumps under canopy here. Some of their locations, they have replaced the fuel pumps with DC fast chargers, and moving forward I think they will do so as well. And here we have 4 Alpitronic Hyper 300 chargers, and all of them also have CHAdeMO in conjunction with CCS2, of course. That was it for this video, where I showed you 2 different charging parks and talked a little bit about the EV adoption in Norway and how it works out. Like you can see, Tesla is just building superchargers everywhere, and in my opinion, they have enough chargers in Norway to like cover the entire country, at least 98% of the country. And yeah, so many charge point providers here. Ionity has great pricing, Tesla has great pricing, I love the Uno X chargers, but there are also a ton of other providers if you wish to use those. There are of course competitiveness in terms of the price, and everyone will of course choose the cheapest and the easiest way to charge. So Tesla is absolutely a big player here, but there are so many other players on the market earning money as well. These chargers that I've showed you in this video are not government subsidized. These are just private companies that have come in here to compete with Tesla to offer DC fast charging. So thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Please leave a comment down below what you thought about the video and what's your favorite charging layout or provider that you've seen in this video. Leave it down below. Thank you so much.